Hello and welcome to my new video. In this one I want to talk about the Engl Savage plugin from Plugin Alliance. It's a plugin which I really love. It just sounds and feels incredible. It's one of my favorite MSIMs out there. So let's start with a little demo. So that was the little demo. Let's start with the default setting of the plugin. They call it 0 here. And now you can see all the EQ knobs are at noon. And yeah, let's hear how that sounds. Sounds much darker, and of course it's more mid-gain because the gain knob is at noon. One thing I mentioned is I always start with the impulse response, because in my opinion, besides the player, the impulse response or the real cabinet is the most important thing of the guitar sound. It just defines the whole frequency range. The amp itself is more about dynamics, the distortion, and where the frequencies are, but the cabinet or the impulse response defines the whole frequency range, the window of the frequency range. So let's go to the FX rack here, and here you can see there is an Engl 4x12 loaded, and here you have a little info button, which is very important because now you can see the cabinet, the microphone, the preamp, and the EQ. And here you can see for this impulse response they used an R121 and a Sennheiser MD421. I don't like these two microphones for a main sound. I like these two more for blending in with an SM57. So let's choose. By the way, they have a huge amount of impulse responses, as you can see here. But you also have here these little buttons, and if you click them, you see the microphone, preamp, and EQ changes. So let's stay with the angle cap, because it matches very well with the amp itself, of course. And let's choose a single SM57, because in my opinion that always works. SM57. It's a good, for me it's a good reference point. Let's see. Vintage. Let's choose that one. It's the angle cap 4x12 with vintage 30s, one Shure SM57, and preamp and EQ from an SSL E console. Let's choose that one. and see how that sounds. Yeah, that's what I mean. It works. For me, it sounds great. It works. Single SM57. Yeah. So let's hide that info button and the FX track. Now we have an impulse response as a reference point, and we know the cabinet works with the microphone, and now we can start to tweak the amp. I always do that. First impulse response, and then I go to the amp settings. So in this video I want to focus more about a high gain rhythm tone and a lead tone. Not that much about clean tones. Maybe that's stuff for another video. So the channel 2 is activated. Let's go to the lead channel. See how that sounds. Now you can hear with the right impulse response, of course it's a matter of taste, as always. With the right impulse response, you have a great sound, because the frequency range sounds great, even with all the EQ knobs at noon. So let's increase the gain a little bit. Let's see, mid-range a little bit down, treble a little bit up. Sounds great to me. Be careful with the presence knob. Here we have two presence knobs, presence A and B. Let's go back a little bit. By the way, there is an onboard noise gate here. Let's set this to minus 70, around 70. A little bit more. Yeah, again with the presence knob, be careful with the presence knob when you play alone, like I do at the moment. It sounds better with less presence, but in a complete mix context, I use a lot more presence, like that, for example. Maybe it sounds little bit harsh when you play alone, but in a complete mixed context, it works. I promise. Yeah, let's dial back a little bit. This. We also have a depth boost here, which is activated. Let's deactivate it and see how that sounds. Okay, when you deactivate that, you lose a lot of low end. So let's activate it again. Yeah, sounds much better to me. Even the low end is a little bit too much for a complete mixed context, but it's always better, in my opinion, to remove something instead of add something. So, and when you deactivate that depth boost, you lose a lot of low end, which is not, in my opinion, you lose too much. Of course, you can compensate that a little bit with the bass knob, but I like it here on the noon position. So yeah, what else do we have? We have a contour knob, and that's one thing I want to mention. Without the contour knob engaged, like now, it sounds like this. And when we activate this, that sounds like a drastic mid cut to me. And when you lose mids, you always lose a little bit of volume. You can hear that clearly if you deactivate it. The signal is much louder, and if we activate that, it's more quiet. And the thing is, when you hear something louder, you always think it sounds better. And it's really important when you tweak tones, always listen to the sound if it's not only louder, because you immediately think it's louder and now it sounds better. But sometimes that's not the truth. But here we have two master volumes, and what we can do is, without the contour knob, we have that volume. And that is with the master A. And we can use the master B with the contour knob engaged. Now we have master A without the contour knob. And with the contour knob we have the master B, a little bit louder. And now with that setting we can compare these two sounds without the contour knob and with the contour knob at the same volume. And now we can judge better what sounds better to me, to you. Depends on your personal taste. Now we have the same volume, which is necessary when we judge in tones. And what I really like is, without the contour knob, you have a lot of mids. Even with the middle knob at 11 o'clock, you still have a lot of mids, which is great for lead sounds, which I show you in a moment. But with the contour knob engaged, you have a really scooped sound, which in my opinion is great for rhythm tone. In a mix, you have to adjust the tones a little bit. But yeah, alone it sounds great to me. By the way, the guitar I use is an old Schecter Jeff Loomis signature model, 7-string guitar, ash body, maple neck, maple fretboard, and I put the Seymour Duncan AHB3 blackouts in it. And I love this guitar, how it sounds, how it feels, and yeah. Now let's try to find a good setting for a lead tone, solo tone. For my personal taste, for a lead tone, I always want more mids. I don't like scoop tones for a lead tone. So let's deactivate the contour knob, switch back to the master A, and increase the middle knob. Let's see how that sounds. A little bit more mid-range. Sounds great to me. Now let's go back to the FX rack, and here we have a onboard delay, which is an awesome feature. Let's activate it. I almost always choose a mix between 30-35%. Same with the feedback knob. The lo-fi, let's leave it at 10. And the delay time around 300-350. And let's see how that sounds. Now you can hear the repeatings, the echoes. Sounds awesome to me. I really like it that the amp, you can have a really scooped sound with the contour knob for heavy rhythm tones, but on the other hand, when you deactivate the contour knob and increase the middle knob, you can have a great lead tone with a lot of mid-range, which I like. So yeah, sounds great to me. It's an awesome plugin. And with the onboard delay, you have a really good all-in-one solution. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Sounds incredible. So yeah, that's it for that video. By the way, I use the same impulse response for the lead tone. Most of the time I use a different IR for a lead tone because of the different frequency range. But for that video I leave it there. I use just that one. Maybe that's stuff for another video where I go more into detail about this plugin or other plugins. Let me know in the comments if you liked that video. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.